Hello, welcome to the channel. This video I'm going to be going over how I kind of design a livery. I'll just kind of describe some of the things as I go along. Thanks for watching. One interesting thing about this model, the roof is chrome. So in order to do that, you have to make the entire car chrome and then apply decals kind of as your base paint. So here you'll see me add the kind of standard Gran Turismo number plate. I'll kind of explain why I did that in a minute. With the roof being chrome, this section was a little bit tricky. It took a couple tries to find really the shape that I was looking for. The key for me is just put a shape on and then kind of look at it from different angles to see if it's the shape that you would like or the shape that looks best. Again, I like to make my builds as accurate as possible, even if you're updating it or applying it to a different model. So you'll see me go through a couple different shapes. Eventually I'll find one that kind of matches the shape of the window. Overall, it looked the best. So here I'm going to be applying a custom number plate, and I do this underneath the standard Gran Turismo number plate because if you use the livery in a racing series on the game, it applies a number plate like this for you. So I designed mine so that it's covered up when you're in the Nations Cup or similar, so that it doesn't have any clash with your custom one. Or if it's, it just looks a little tacky to me. I like to be as accurate with my design as possible. So I put mine underneath, that way you won't see it when you're in a racing series. going to start adding in a windshield banner. Here, it took me forever to actually realize you could change the background color, which I'll do in a minute. My first few liveries looked pretty silly because the background color didn't match, so you had that black gap. Also be applying a custom decal for this model that I couldn't find in the game. If you do come across one that you can't find, send me a message and I may be able to design and put it on GT7 for you. I'm going to start putting on the major sponsor decals. I'll show you the model I'm using as well. Again, I like to be accurate in my designs, even if it's a different model of the car. So you'll see I try to kind of measure the decals and place them in the appropriate spot on the car. You can do this with the fenders, any bolts, any reference points I use to try to make the decal the correct size and shape and place it in the right area at the same time. So this Advan decal and the Zero Sun decal, which I'll get to momentarily, were probably the trickiest. In the reference model, the older Ferrari, it had a much bigger cutout or indentation in the body lines at the bottom of the car, whereas the new Ferrari does not. So I was really just trying to play around with what looked best. Of course, I like to keep it as original and accurate as possible, but we are modifying it to a new car. A tip for the bottom of the car, kind of the rocker panels, side skirt area, when you're doing these are most cars, especially in GT7, have really sharp angles in these areas, and you're gonna have two different areas of modification. So it won't be the body, it'll be kind of the other area, as you just saw briefly on the side. I've seen kind of the trick is to use the camera angle or the camera view, not the surface view, when you're applying these. If you use surface view, it's really hard to match up if you're trying to put decals on two different areas of the body. It's really difficult to match those up. If you use the camera view, it'll be much easier to size them correctly. And actually, this original build, I did not do that, so they do look a little bit off. Eventually, I did go back and change them to camera view, so they were much more straight in how they looked. you'll see here, I'm going to start to fill in the back area. Kind of talked about that earlier. The older Ferrari had mesh that went from tail light to tail light. So I'm kind of trying to imitate that here. Always a tricky area because this curve is just so very minimal. It's difficult to find the shape that kind of fits that. And I actually went back and kind of edited this quite a bit to make sure that I got that kind of as smooth as possible. And again, to me, I like to be as accurate as possible. When I see other liveries, items like this are really impressive to me, just because it's like a finer detail. When you're pulling that over from a model that's from real life, or just trying to emulate it, I think it's a nice touch. Start putting on the decals in the front. I'll kind of reference the model that I was using to show, again, if you're using an older model or a different model, I try to make them as close to the replica or as close to the original as possible, the decals. or just put them in the place that makes the most sense. As you can see, the older Ferrari had an air inlet there, which is absent on this model, but it does have winglets, so it's just a little bit different of a model. Just kind of modify it based on what looks best while trying to match it to the original. I think this is one of the cooler features of the model that I was using. It had the drivers' names, which they were both Japanese, so it had their names in Japanese on the roof. I thought it was really cool. I actually made these decals for this livery. Also, you can kind of see, you line it up with the vents on the rear window. That's how the model in real life was, so you'll see that I kind of checked to make sure that that's going basically in a straight line. I think overall the livery came out really well. I did go back and tweak it a little bit just to make it look even better. I'll put the name of the livery in the description so you can find it on GT7.